and welcome back to Mega Man 10. I am Sire Goku, and in this video we're going to be showing off some of the extras that were in Mega Man 10 since I've completed the LP at this point. This game, like Mega Man 9, had Time Attack and some extra challenges that you could do, but a very special thing about Mega Man 10 compared to 9 is that it had 3 specific special stages as opposed to just one super long stage in Mega Man 9. And the extra stages in Mega Man 10 are actually based off of stages from previous Mega Man games, specifically the Game Boy Mega Man games, at least Mega Man 1, 3, and 4. So this stage that we're playing right now is based off of the first castle stage from Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge. And the boss we're going to be fighting is Anchor from Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge on the Game Boy. Now, I would be doing some... I'm not like Clement where I have like bios and stuff. But basically, one of the unique things about the Game Boy Mega Man games was that each game had one unique boss specifically for that game. And as I said before, the first game, Dr. Wily's Revenge, the special boss for that game was named Anchor. This entire stage is actually very reminiscent of the Wily Castle stage that you went through in Dr. Wily's Revenge. In fact, all 3 of the special stages are modeled off of the Game Boy stages that they were originally from. Just given the Mega Man 10 touch, because they have the same physics from Mega Man 10. And as you're seeing right now, I'm actually using the weapon that you get from Anchor himself. This is the Mirror Buster. What it does is, as you're seeing, you hold a small shield in front of you, and it reflects blasts back to your enemy. It's kind of like the Jewel Satellite from Mega Man 9, only better, because it's a lot stronger. It does use up energy when you're using it. Also, this recording that I'm using, this is my original run of when the game first released these stages, which is why you see that I only have the Mirror Buster. I don't have the other 2 weapons yet. So I probably could have done a much better job than I did in this particular run, but I didn't feel like re-recording myself going through these stages. And since I already had pre-recorded runs from the game itself, I figured I would just use those. But yeah, this is how a lot of the stage designs in Dr. Wily's Revenge were. There was just a lot of low ceiling jumps and spikes and pits everywhere. And then we had a mole section. This hallway here was much, much harder to get through in the Game Boy version, because the moles were just really slow. Also on the Game Boy version, Mega Man's sprite was about twice as big, and considering that it's a Game Boy screen, everything's zoomed in and it's bigger. So yeah, you had a lot less space to move around. But we're already at the end, and just like the Game Boy Mega Man games, you had the doors on the ceilings instead of walking through a small hallway. But this is Anchor. And at the time, I didn't have Anchor's official weakness, which is the 3rd special weapon we get in the game. But again, I didn't feel like re-recording this. So this is Anchor. He's going to run across the screen, hold up his lance, and when he holds up his lance, he's going to absorb your shots into it. Normally he holds up his lance a lot longer than that. In the Game Boy version, he holds it up long enough that you can hit him 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 times, and his reflected shot is much bigger. This is what the Mirror Buster does for him. He absorbs your shots, and then he shoots a wave at you. In this game, or when you use the Mirror Buster, it just, as you saw, it makes a small wave in front of you, and it reflects shots off of it. Well, now we're moving on to the special stage 2, and this is based off of the unique stage from Mega Man 3 for Game Boy, and the robot we are going to be fighting in this level is named Punk. That's the other unique thing, is it's one of the few times in even the US versions of Mega Man where Capcom kept the music reference names. Anchor is actually a style of Japanese rock, I believe, because honestly I don't think Anchor style of music is anything other than Japanese or Asian. And then this is Punk, obviously named off of punk style music. They do change up a few of the things. They do change up the stage a little bit from the Game Boy counterparts, such as this section right here is actually not from... Punk's stage is not actually in Game Boy Mega Man 3. The stage you fought him in, you just kind of entered a hallway, you entered into a room, chased Wily down a hallway, and then you got ambushed by him, and you fell into a small room and you fought him there. So a lot of the stages actually based off of stages from Wily's Castle in Mega Man 3 Game Boy. And the music itself, a little bit. The intro beat is based off of the music that plays when, like this part right here that you're hearing, that's actually based off of directly from when Punk attacks you in the beginning of the stage. Also, I apologize for the jumps. Again, for the jumps in the video there. Again, for some reason, when I was recording Mega Man 10, it had some frame rate issues, I guess, or it was skipping frames, and I wasn't realizing it, but oh well. Anyway, as I was saying, most of this level is based off of Wily's Castle, which is the stage you go to after you fight Punk. But since Punk didn't have his own stage, and they wanted to reference Mega Man 3, they had to basically put the castle stage through. Even though that's technically not where you fought Punk. But yeah. And we got Crushers again, which still remind me of Metal Shark Player, and I really don't want to be reminded of Mega Man X6. I'll get to Mega Man X6 eventually, even though I don't really want to, but hey, if I'm going to do the X series, I have to do Mega Man X6. It's inevitable. But thankfully I padded out the video long enough that we made it to Punk. Punk and the next stage are the two longest stages of the 3 special stages, so it takes a while, unfortunately. Now, Punk here, and this is also how Punk entered his fight in the Game Boy version. This is the room he entered after you go down the hallways, like Dr. Wily escapes, and then Punk drops down to attack you. And now Punk's going to jump across now, as you can see here, Punk's going to jump and he's going to throw his screw attack at you. Yes, it's called a screw attack. And then he's going to curl up into a ball and dash at you across the screen. He's either going to dash low, so you have to jump over him, or he's either going to dash high, so you just have to dodge him by not jumping, or he's going to dash low and you have to jump over him. It's a little trickier than it was in the Game Boy version, because in the Game Boy version, Mega Man had the ability to slide. So in his low dash like that right there, you could have slid underneath him. Unfortunately, despite the fact that the Mirror Buster is Punk's weakness, it is ridiculously hard to actually aim the attack at him because of the way he shoots his weapon at you. You basically have to be standing directly next to him and just hope that he fires it at you at the right angle, and then you can damage him. And I was being really dumb in this run, I guess. It's been a long time since I've done this original run. This is why I was debating on whether or not I wanted to re-record, like record the run, or just record off of what I originally did. Thankfully, the stage does have an energy tank in it, so you can save it for Punk. But yeah, this fight goes on for a good while. I mean, there's still about a minute and a half left in this fight. I apologize for that. I tried to edit this down as much as I could. But yeah, his weakness is the Mirror Buster. It's just ridiculously hard to aim it at him. And at this point I was getting really, really nervous because I thought I was going to die. Thankfully, though, that was not the case. As you can plainly see, I'm able to dodge him pretty easily. And I managed to finally hit him with the Mirror Buster, and he goes down like the jerk that he is. Yeah, that stage took 5.5 minutes. That's crazy. And the highest time on that is probably like 2 or 3 minutes. But moving on to the last special stage, we have Ballad from Game Boy Mega Man 4. And his stage is the most changed out of his official stage from the original game that he debuted in. There were sections like this in Game Boy Mega Man 4 where you had those random enemies coming out of open pits. And Ballad, you did actually fight multiple... Ballad, you actually fought twice in Game Boy Mega Man 4. So that's why this stage is so long. If they kind of combined the first 2 times you fought Ballad... Well, actually, the first time you fight Ballad in Mega Man 4, you don't actually go through a stage. It's a lot like how you fought Punk, whereas you just kind of... You went to Wily's castle, entered a hallway, found Wily, he started running away, and as you were chasing him, Ballad comes in and throws a bomb at you, and then you have to fight him. Speaking of bombs, you had these walls of missiles here, and this is a reference to the end section of Mega Man 4's Ballad stage. After you fought Ballad in Wily's castle, it started to explode, and you had to go through... as this castle was exploding, you had to... the floor kept falling underneath you. Like, everything behind you started exploding, and you had to blow your way through all those bomb walls. After you got Ballad's weapon, you were able to aim diagonally. And for the longest time, I had the most trouble getting through that section. Me and my brother actually didn't beat Mega Man 4 on Game Boy for a really long time. In fact, my brother never finished it. I'm the one that beat it after countless tries of trying to beat Ballad's stage after you fought him the second time. This section right here is also added specifically for Mega Man 10. But this is actually right here, this is how the stage ended in the Game Boy version. You had the floor exploding behind you, and you had to blast through the walls as quickly as you could. Using Ballad's weapon, by the way, because Ballad's weapon you could actually aim diagonally. And right here is actually a perfect... Right here is actually almost an identical image of how that stage ended, except it was a little easier because in the Game Boy version you could slide. And this is where the end of the stage was, and if you went through, when you went through the gate, then you were done with the castle stage. But in Mega Man 10, no, we're gonna fight Ballad here, and this is how the screw attack works. Screw Crusher, I'm sorry, not screw attack, that's a different game, that's Metroid. No, you got Screw Crusher. Also in a unique thing, this is Ballad. He's gonna drop a bomb. He's gonna drop his Ballad Cracker, which is kind of like which is basically a grenade, and it'll stay there for a few seconds until it explodes or until you walk into it. And then after a while, he'll run to the corner and he'll shoot a bunch of bullets at you. He actually has a second form that randomly shows up, which is what he looks like when you fight him the second time in Game Boy Mega Man 4, where he gets a little stronger, but Anyway, that's it for the special stages of Mega Man 10. You do get, as you saw there, despite the game not telling you, you do end up actually getting each of their weapons after you defeat them, so... With that, as far as I can tell, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the end of my run for Mega Man 10. There is the endless mode, but it's essentially exactly the same as it was in Mega Man 9. So maybe I'll record a few minutes. Maybe I'll record a run of it sometime. But these were the main things you would want to download when you could download them. But yeah, that's officially the end to the Mega Man Classic series. And as I mentioned at the end of the original run, I will be getting to the X series eventually. But I may be taking a small break from Mega Man. because I did just finish the entire Classic series. So, I still have yet to decide what my next Let's Play is going to be, but I will get to a new one soon enough. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed my run of the Mega Man Classic series, and I will see you for the next LP. See you guys then.